Myself Nijo Varghese, going to discuss about time management. Time management is very important in everyone's life. Everyone in this world is getting same 24 hours a day. So nobody is getting more time, nobody is getting less time. The thing is that whoever is effectively utilizing the time will be successful in their life. So everyone has to manage the available time for them. If we consider time as a resource, those who are effectively utilizing this particular resource will be successful. So here we are going to discuss about what are the skills required to manage the time effectively. And we will look into how effectively we can manage time. Many people, many students as well as many professionals says that they don't have time. But it is not about the time that they are not getting the time. It's about they are not able to manage the time effectively. Maybe they are not prioritizing the work. Maybe they are not planning their work. So it is inefficiency in handling the time or inefficiency in allocating the resource, this time resource. So how effectively you utilize this time that determines the success in your career as well as in your personal life. So let's look into what are the time management skills. There are a lot of skills required to manage the time effectively, but the most important 10 time management skills that you need is as follows. The first one is planning. You have to plan your entire day or your available time very effectively. If you look into the management, which is planning is a very important function of management. So you have to effectively plan or properly plan the available time to allocate your work. So you have to schedule your work. You have to have a plan what all things that you are going to do in a particular day or in a week or in a month or in a year, what all things that you want to achieve. You should have a proper plan for that. Sometimes you need to take decisions very fast. You need to you may not get sufficient time for planning. So don't think that planning is not required at that time. Planning is required at every point of time, even if you have to take immediate decisions. But the thing is that you have to take quick plan. You have to have a quick planning. So you need to plan effectively. So that is very basic situation for a very basic need for a time management. The next thing is prioritizing. So according to the importance of the work, according to the need of the work or urgency of the work, you have to prioritize the works that you are going to do, work or things that you are very important in your life. So you have to prioritize things in your life. What do you want to do first? Then what is next? Then what is next? And what you can avoid, what you don't have to do. So you have to prioritize the entire thing in your life. That is the another skill that you require in order to effectively manage the time. And the third thing is goal setting. You have to have a goal or target. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to get? So you have to have a clear plan on what you want to achieve or what you want to get. And then you will be clear about what you are going to do and what is the work that you are going to do, what the way you are going to approach this one. So goal setting is another important thing in time management. Then the fourth thing is decision making. You have to decide this particular thing that I am going to do today or at this particular point of time. So you have to decide what you are going to do now, what you are going to do next. So you have to decide in order to have proper time management. Then the fifth thing is focus. You need to be very focused, very um, focus oriented when you are doing a particular job or when you are doing particular things. So you have to concentrate on that one. You should have a focus in order to effectively manage the time. Then you need to aware yourself. So your capability, your incapability, or what you are capable of doing it, whether you can do this particular thing, whether you are capable of doing this particular thing, at what particular what way you can do this one effectively, in how effectively you can reduce the time for completing the particular task, or whether you are not able to, whether you are not having the skill to do this particular job, whether you need to allocate this particular job to others, whether you need support from others. So you have to have a self awareness in order to manage the time. Then the seventh thing is self motivation. You should be motivated by yourself. There is nobody is going to motivate you. When you want to do particular task, if you want to say that I have to complete this particular project at this particular point of time, then you have to motivate yourself, I can do it. So you have to be motivate yourself in order to get the things in time. Then the eighth point is delegating. Sometimes you have to delegate your work. If the work is not important, but it is urgent, sometimes you can delegate the work to others. So you have to sometimes if you are not able to do that work alone, you have to delegate the work. If you are not skillful in doing that particular work, sometimes you have to delegate the work. So delegating is another skill that you need to have in order to effectively manage your time. Because if you're doing every work by yourself, you may not be able to complete the task in particular time. So you have to identify which all works you have to delegate, which all works you don't have to delegate. So some people delegate every work to others. So that is not right, because if you're delegating the entire work to others, others may not be able to complete the task. So what is going to happen? You may not be able to achieve your goal. So then the ninth thing is dealing with stress. So if definitely you are going to have stress when you're doing multiple works at a particular point of time or within a short period of time. So you may not be able to complete the work in time. So you will be stressed out. You will be having more question whether I can complete this particular task within this time. So you will be stressed out. So you have to properly deal with the stress that you have to complete the task within the time. So you have to be patient, you have to handle the stress by yourself. Then the last thing, but which is very important, organize your work. So if you are organizing your work or organizing your entire thing, which will be easy. Suppose if you look into your house, if the house, the things are messed up, when you want to take some keys, you don't know where the key is. If you want to take some tools or equipments for particular work, you don't know where it is, then you will find, you will be utilizing more time to find that particular tool or key. So the thing is that if it is organized, you know that where it is exactly located, so you can easily take that one and you can easily do that. Once you take this particular tool from a particular place and you place it in a particular place allocated for that one, and if you organize your work, you can effectively manage your time. Most of the people fail in this particular area. They are not organized. If they are not organized, they will not be able to manage their time effectively. So they will be having hundreds of things, but they are not organized. So the basic thing in time management, one of the basic thing is organize things. So you have to organize yourself. Now let's see the priority matrix by Eisenhower's matrix, or known as Eisenhower's matrix or priority matrix, which talks about which things to be done first, which is next, and which is later, and which should be avoided. So if you take the case, then one angle is importance and other angle is urgency. So the works or the things in life, maybe sometimes the things in life is very important, which is other things will be very low importance. One is high important, another one is low importance. Sometimes some things are very urgent and some are not urgent. So if you plot these two things, importance as well as urgency in two dimensional thing, then we can see that if you classify into high importance and low importance and high urgency and low urgency, what do you have to do? The first thing, a task or an activity which is of high importance as well as high urgency, which is very important as well as which is very urgent, you have to do that first. Suppose we have a project which has to be completed by this particular weekend, and which is very important because which is going to get more revenue or more benefit for you, that you have to do first, because that is very important. So the important thing and urgent thing you have to do first. That is the prime thing in time management. Very important thing and very urgent things the first. Then you may have a confusion. Sometimes the things are very urgent, but it is not important. So what should be the next? If you're doing the first thing, no confusion, because high important and very urgent things should be done first. So whether it is a urgent thing to be done first, next, or the important thing next, definitely after the high importance and high urgency things, the high important things which is even not urgent, you have to do that next, because you have to schedule that one, the high important things, because very important things you have to give based on the importance only, you have to prioritize. So the basic concept of prioritizing starts from the importance thing. So the high important things, even if it is low urgency, you have to schedule that one. So what to do with the high urgency thing which is not that much important? You can delegate that one. So if something which is urgent, which is not important, what you can do is that you can delegate to others. So those who are not important but urgent things you can delegate. But the thing is that don't delegate everything to others, because you have to look on to the people's skills and people abilities and capabilities in doing that one. And if a particular work which has to be done by yourself, you cannot delegate to others. And if they are not able to complete the task in time, so you will be in trouble. So you have to think that, you have to understand whom you are going to delegate this on, whether the person you are delegating is overloaded, or the person you are delegating is having sufficient work, whether he has having the sufficient skill to do that one. So you have to look into that one when you are delegating is a important aspect of time management, because delegation looks, you have to look onto the people that you are going to delegate, whether they are capable and whether they have the sufficient time for doing that one, that you have to understand when delegating. So when you are arranging the order, you have to do the things which is of high importance first, then based on the importance this comes. Then what to do with the low urgency and low important things? You can avoid that, no action, you don't have to take any action, because it is not at all important, not at all urgent, so that you can leave. That you can take if you have some time, you can do that one, otherwise don't do. There is no point in wasting time for that one. Urgency, if there is no urgency and there is no importance, you can skip that one. Now let's look into a story which is known as the jar of life, or the Mayo jar, which talks about the importance of time management, or what all things to be done in, what all things are important in your life. So how effectively you can manage time. So this story is talks about the importance of time management in your life. Once a philosophy professor came to the class with a large empty mayonnaise jar along with some materials in his hand, and he put this jar in the table. He kept the jar in the table, and he started to take golf balls and to fill this particular jar. And once the jar is filled, he asked the students whether the jar is filled. Then the professor took the box of pebbles and he started uh, pouring the pebbles into the jar. Once he completed filled up this one, he again asked the students, "Is the jar full?" Then the students unanimously said yes. Then he took the box of sand and he started pouring this box, pour just pour this sand into the jar. Then again he asked the students, "Is the jar full?" When the students again said yes, then the professor took 2 cups of coffee and started pouring this one into the jar. Every student started laughing. So the professor said, "This is a jar of life. This jar represents your life. The golf balls are important things in your life. Your family, your health, your parents, your children, your passion, your ambition. So those important things in your life are the golf balls. If everything else is lost, if it is only these things stay remained, your life will be full, still be full. The pebbles are the other things which is not that much important, which is like your job, your car, your house, etc. And the sand is everything else." And then he said, "Suppose if you start filling the jar with the sand first, then you won't be able to fill the pebbles or the golf balls. You may not be able to fill all other golf balls or the pebbles into it. So you have to fill the jar first with the very important thing. So if you start to fill your life with very small stuff, very unimportant things in your life, then you will not have sufficient time for the important things in your life. So you have to plan things, you have to plan your time, you have to spend your time for more important things in your life. that is what you have to do in your life. So most important things that you have to feel, you have to find time for that one. Pay attention to things that is very critical to your happiness, or pay attention to your family, pay attention to your children, pay attention to your very important aspects of your life. Pay more time, allocate more time for your ambition, your passion. So that is going to take you throughout the life. So if you're so much passionate about something, so you have to find time for that one. So you have to plan time for most important things first. When he is about to finish his session, one of the students raised and asked, so what about the coffee? What does that represent? So the professor with a smile replied, even though you are full of your life, you don't have sufficient time for this one, you're very busy in your life, even there is a room for a couple of coffee with your friend or your family. So there is enough, there is a time for that one. So that represents the cup of coffee. So students, you plan your time effectively, and allocate your time for most important things in your life, and you have to plan your time effectively. Now you have a group task. You have to do one thing. You can follow the mentor group, and what you have to do is that you have to design a social marketing poster and develop a video advertisement which promote a course like time management tips during COVID-19. So how effectively you are going to manage the time, or some tips for time management during COVID-19. So you can work in a group and you can design a poster for the same, and you can develop a video advertisement. You can, even though you are separated, you are in separate places, how you can come up with a video advertisement by individually taking videos, and you can merge this one. So you have to use your creative thinking, and you have to plan this one and come up with a social marketing poster as well as a video advertisement which promote the course, like how effectively you can manage time during COVID-19. So let me see your creativity, and how effectively you are going to manage the time. And I expect you have to complete this task within a week. So you can follow the mentor groups. So same mentor groups remains. So you think and work out. That's all. Thank you.